There's a new sheriff in town. Leah Michelle Resistance Chicks coming at you Thursday, February 9th, 2017. I love that Trump has sat down with sheriffs on a local level. This is what presidents should do. This is what presidents have done historically. You used to be able to go up to Abraham Lincoln's office.
There'd be
and
a
talk to
long
him.
line. You could be a human, just a regular old Joe Schmo. You didn't have to be a lobby or something.
I don't even know the last time a president talked to a sheriff. One, let alone a whole group of them.
Obama didn't.
Whatever. Let's listen to what happened
Chip
here.
is here, and I know the great job you do. I've known you and followed you for a long period of time.
We're not going to do this whole thing. We're going to point out some highlights.
Your efforts and your officers are outstanding. I know so many sheriffs from my area, some in particular, and they're great friends and great people. I just want to let you know that our job is to help you in law enforcement, and we're going to help you do your job. We're going to expand access to abuse-deterring drugs, which a lot of you have been talking about. They're out, and they're very hard to get. Stop the opioid epidemic. We've got to do it. It's a new thing, and honestly, people aren't talking about it enough. It's a new thing, and it's a new problem for you folks. It's probably a vast majority of your crimes.
We know it firsthand.
At least a very big portion of your crimes are caused by drugs.
Right.
We're going to stop the border. We're going to stop. We're not going to have the drugs pour in from the border like they have been.
Very key.
We will work with you on supporting your long-standing efforts to strengthen the bonds between the communities and the police, which is very important, and it's sort of a new phenomenon to a certain extent, and it's happening more and more, and some great results are when you can strengthen the bonds. We're committed to securing our borders to reduce crime, illegal drugs, human trafficking, especially in border counties. We have a lot of the border counties represented. We're also committed to working with law enforcement to stop terrorist attacks. You've been reading about that and seeing about that. They want to take a lot of our powers away. Some people with a lot of the wrong intentions, and so we've got a lot of bad people out there. And Ben, I just want to thank you on behalf of the government, on behalf of our country, for leading a strong effort in the courts, and we really appreciate it, believe me. Because as you know, we don't have an attorney general. We have somebody who's phenomenal, Jeff Sessions. He's going to be there hopefully soon. But I believe it's about a record for the length of time that they've delayed the cabinet. These are cabinet members that are phenomenal people, and we haven't had representation, and now we have excellent representation, fortunately, in Dana, and Jeff will be with you very shortly, hopefully. But we're having a hard time getting approvals, and it's only a delay tactic. It's all politics. One person came up to me, a senator, Democratic senator, came up to me the other day and said, Jeff Sessions is a fantastic man. He's fabulous. He's a friend of mine. He's a great man and a great talent. And we're lucky to have him. I said, oh, great. I guess that means you're voting for him. No, I won't be doing that. He said, politics doesn't allow me to do that. I thought it was a disgrace. If the press talks loud and hard enough, I'll have to tell you who said that to me. Well, you don't want to hear. You don't want to hear who said that. I'm shocked. I didn't think you'd care. I didn't think you'd care. But I'll probably tell you actually. So we're going to be very tough on crime.
So
we're going to be very tough on
anybody like
the drugs
this.
pouring in, and it's a big part of the crime. We're going to be very strong at the border. We have no choice, and we're going to be building a wall. We're starting very soon. General Kelly will be working with a lot of you, and he's fantastic. He was one who got approved very quickly, along with General Mattis. He's very outstanding, and I very much appreciate that you're here today. And Sheriff, I really thank you for leading the effort. Your reputation's fantastic, and it's a great honor to know you. Thank you. Maybe we can go around. We'll let the press stay for a little while, unless you'd rather leave. Would the press rather stay? You know, just so you understand, this is a new phenomenon. You're on live television all over the world right now, so don't get nervous when you speak, okay? But I don't think these things have ever taken place before, but you are on live television, so if you don't want to say anything, you don't have to. But if you do, I think it's a good thing to say. So maybe we'll just go around the room.
This is so great. He continues to go
Thank you so much
through.
for having us here.
I want you to hear her
Sheriff
speak.
Carolyn Welsh from Chester County, Pennsylvania, and proud to say Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth will put you over the top November 8th. Very proud of that. We don't stop bragging about that.
You were great support.
Thank you. And I just want to thank you for during the campaign and since the campaign being such a strong, courageous supporter of law enforcement. On the federal level with the Border Patrol, on the state level, in the counties, municipalities, boroughs, and particularly with the elected sheriff of the counties. Because we are the sheriff, we are the people's representative, and we are elected by the people, and we greatly appreciate your strong and continued support.
Thank you, Carolyn. There's a new sheriff in town. I hear this so much data. They always use, there's a new sheriff in town. So anyway.
Sheriff Harold Evanson, Rockville.
All right, so
fantastic.
That was hilarious, and then I want to take you to the end where they present him with
Go back. Right there, that's good.
plaque, a little.
It's not a little plaque,
sheriff
it's a little
man.
sheriff dude. It's fantastic. Go out, take pictures, look around, let's everybody smile.
Well, Mr. President, on behalf of 3,088 sheriffs of America, since there is a new sheriff in town, it's only fitting that we provide you with our sculpture. The first time that NSA has provided this sculpture to a non-law enforcement person, and it is the new sheriff in town for you. I hope you're proud of this.
The first time it's ever been this sheriff sculpture has ever been given to a non-sheriff.
You took the deck.
Mr. President.
That's so awesome. Look at the little sheriff.
Thank you, everybody.
Isn't that little sheriff man?
That's great, fellas.
Mr. President.
So let's get a couple of pictures.
Oh my gosh, that is so stinking adorable. Over 3,000 sheriffs were kind of represented there to meet with the president.
I don't know if you guys can quite understand this, but it's actually, this is one of these emotional times. It's making me emotional. I want to cry. And let me tell you why. Because, and I brought up this 10th Amendment Center behind us. I want you to Google the 10th Amendment Center. The 10th Amendment says that the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Now the 10th Amendment Center is out there to try to get out the fact that most of our giant federal government agencies are actually unconstitutional.
Right.
For example, the American Care Act, the ATF, the DEA, the EPA, the GCA, the NFA, the NSA, the TCA,
IRS,
anything that ends with an A. These are not powers that are regulated to the federal government.
They should
and
all
so
be local.
When he's meeting with
state.
these sheriffs, the idea that what he kept hitting over and over again was border security. And I got to tell you that our Constitution in America sets up that the federal government's powers should be few, and the state powers should be they're innumerable. You can do what you need to do within your states, but the federal government is there to help the states with wars between the states, or if the states start to get out of control, or mostly the outside borders, and to help us delegate who's going to take care of our Navy and our military and our Army, and how are we going to negotiate with other countries, and tariffs and taxes with other countries coming in and out, and so when President Trump is doing things that have to do with borders, he is within his rights to do so. And I'm going to on my next video. Yesterday he gave another speech to
and he's making all of this. I don't know if you guys noticed where he said this unprecedented. He is making every single thing, all of these meetings, everything that he's doing, it is live,
but Obama,
wide open.
There
are no backroom deals that are happening.
This is so awesome,
honest and open, and the press hates it because they want the little secrets.
And you know what? Trump is listening to our voices when we come together as a one, and we surge forth and we say, "Don't do this." He's like, "Whoa, okay." He wasn't necessarily pro-life, and we surged, and we're like, "You have to not kill babies." He's like, "Okay, well, we will appoint a Supreme Court justice." And he's like, "We want states." There are so many powers that should be delegated to the states. Marriage. You can't have same-sex marriage because that's a power delegated to the states.
Exactly.
Okay? So
when it comes to borders, though, you had a punchline you'd said yesterday, and I don't remember who you were quoting. Where it's like, if you don't, or maybe it was just my mom that said it, I don't know. But without borders, you don't have a country.
oh my gosh, I did not say that. But that's really good. My mom must have said that.
Without borders, you don't have a country. Without borders, you don't have states. And so border control is very, very important.
Duh. And I'm going to show you in a minute how Australia has like a moat, and then they're having problems.
Exactly.
They can build their wall of water.
Did you have anything else at the 10th Amendment Center?
Yes. I wanted to tell you that I'm going to get to these Major Cities Chiefs Conference, which is another law enforcement conference that he spoke at yesterday. So stay tuned for that video because he goes in more to the borders. But it's important for us to filter the news through proper channels. So when we bring you news and we bring it to you funny, just know that we have spent, how old am I? The last 15, 20 years studying
The Constitution, our founding fathers, the documents, everything that they wrote. What was their original intent?
So that is how we filter things. And so we need to bring you guys, because our public school systems in America, and I don't think even you guys in England or Australia learned our Constitution and our founding fathers,
which was based and founded upon the
English common law,
John Locke's
William Blackstone.
2 Treatises of Government, where he lays out that all rights come from nature and nature's God, which is the Judeo-Christian God.
Exactly. So right now the founding fathers, they're kind of being voided out. And that's what I wanted to give you a couple pieces from this article.
They're actually starting to get a voice again.
When it comes to limits of federal power under the Constitution, the view of many founding fathers fits under the same theme. That is, federal acts outside of the Constitution
are null and void.
Oliver Ellsworth, the Supreme Court's third Chief Justice, put it this way during the ratification debates of the amendments. If the United States goes beyond their powers, if they make a law which the Constitution does not authorize, it is
void.
In the Federalist Papers number 78, Alexander Hamilton wrote,
who became a Christian. I think Kansas Cowboy.
He was a Christian, but he really gave his life over to Christ.
Kansas Cowboy is going to bring a conspiracy theory on that.
On his deathbed, after a duel.
All right. Sorry.
Okay. There is no position which depends on clearer principles than that every act of a delegated authority contrary to the tenure of the commission under which is exercised
is void.
And in 1798, Thomas Jefferson wrote that whensoever the general government assumes undelegated powers, its acts are unauthoritatively
and of no force.
Void
and of no force.
Okay.
Nothing. It has no power behind it.
So the 10th Amendment Center is about trying to get states back their rights. Now there's also a Facebook group and a group called the Convention of States. And they're trying to get each state to kind of come up with trying to come together to address these issues. We have some friends in Ohio who are part of the Convention of States in Ohio. And we're kind of trying to rise up. You've got Trump over here who's working within the federal powers.
Within the system.
Within the system. And what we want to do is come over here and recognize, we need to end the Federal Reserve. Not just audit it. I think Trump's going to make sure it gets audited. And hopefully, as Thomas Massey said and Rand Paul said, if it gets audited, it will
be end. Yeah, because once the cat gets out of the bag of what they've been doing,
right,
ripping the American people off and lining their own pockets, it will be ended.
And so I also wanted to share with you guys, and if you don't care, if you want somebody else to do all your work for you, if you don't want to think deeply, then you don't have to listen. But for those of you who actually want to make a difference and be part of the resistance, you need to know a lot of these things. A number of times throughout history, tyranny has stimulated breakthrough thinking about liberty. This was certainly the case in England with the mid-17th century era of repression, rebellion, and civil war. There was a tremendous outpouring of political pamphlets and tracts. By far the most influential writings emerged from the pen of scholar
John Locke.
Okay, so I encourage you all to read his second
2 Treatises of Government. If you can't read it, listen to it. You can find it on LibriVox.org and listen to it there.
Right. Listen to John Locke. Listen to Thomas Jefferson, Samuel Adams, John Adams. Everybody read John Locke to understand. And those who were schooled in the Harvards and the Yales and things like that, they were schooled according to William Blackstone's and his commentaries according to the English common law.
Right.
And so our law is based on English common law. The proper, and both Blackstone and Locke say that our rights are a gift and a gift from God.
Right.
If you don't understand you have rights that are come from God, then you really don't understand liberty or anything at all.
When you go to read the Declaration of Independence, which Thomas Jefferson penned, for those of us that read the Bible, if somebody were to pen something and quote different things from Scripture, you would be able to call it out like that. You'd be able to say, okay, that's Ephesians, that's Romans, that came from 2 Corinthians, whatever. You would be able to just know without it being quoted. The people of the time knew when Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence that he was pulling from Locke, right and left. He practically plagiarized the entire second treatise or two treaties of government to write our Declaration of Independence.
Right.
For those of you that do
there
not
was
know.
a cute little memo here, and I'm not sure I can find it again, where it talked about states' rights were those that were marriage, licensing, things like that. But to go over here, I wanted to give you a few quotes from really good founding fathers who could help you understand where our laws come from. And
God.
Exactly. So let's see. We've got, I was talking about William Blackstone in his commentaries on the laws of England. They profoundly influenced the founders in the formation of our American law. He said, for the principal aim of society is to protect individuals in the enjoyment of those absolute rights which are vested in them by the immutable laws of nature
And nature's God.
Apart from these weighty influences, the founders themselves expressed pointed views of the purpose of government. What I understand is that the government isn't there to nanny you, to wipe your bottom, to feed you, to clothe you, to house you.
To educate you.
To educate you. The idea of government under Locke, in his mind,
is to ensure the rights and freedoms to pursue a life according to what you feel led.
right, exactly, so that nobody can come in and take your things from you.
Specifically property.
Right. John Locke said life, liberty, and then
Pursuit
property.
of property. And when
He
they...
didn't say pursuit of property. He just said property.
Okay, when the founders added, they felt like that was too constricting. So when they said the pursuit of happiness, that was more inclusive to actually
Right.
even more things, but primarily property.
Right, exactly. So the idea is that governments are formed. You give up a little bit of your rights, is what Locke says, so that you can protect all of your things.
Right.
So that I live in this neighborhood and somebody can't just come into my house and take my things.
Without me having
In
to
a
defend
state
it
of
with a gun.
nature, in
Right.
perfect nature, we just do whatever we want. But when people started to congregate and live near each other, good men band
Right.
together to say, hey, we're going to protect ourselves. I'm going to protect your stuff. You help me protect my stuff. So that you give up a little bit of your liberty
Right.
in order to ensure your
But
greater
it's a very
liberty.
small amount of liberty that you're giving up.
Exactly. And the more moral a people are, this is what John Adams says, the less government you need.
Exactly.
Because if you're ruling yourself, if you're not going to steal, lie, and cheat, you don't need very many laws. You just need
Right.
those laws for the criminals around
The
you.
people that are so anti-having God in the education system, which we don't believe in the education system to begin with, but let's just go there. The people that do not want God in education, they really just want chaos and anarchy, because
Exactly.
even Thomas Jefferson, who really did, he said, according to the teachings of Jesus, I call myself a Christian, but for those of you that want to say he was an atheist, he said, I believe that everyone should be taught according to the teachings of Jesus. Why? Because it makes for a more healthy, sound-minded society.
Not the Catholic religion, not the Protestant religion, not the Puritan religion. We're talking about
The teachings of Jesus Christ.
Jesus is given to your neighbor and do all these wonderful
Whether
awesome
you
things.
believe in Jesus or not, those teachings are fundamental to the foundation of a healthy society.
Right. Okay, so in a sermon preached in Cambridge before the Massachusetts House of Representatives on May 30th, 1770, prominent New England preacher Samuel Cook pinpointed the true intention of government. Civil government, the sole end and design of which is the public benefit, the good of the people, that they may be protected in their persons and secured in the enjoyment of all their rights. It is to protect what we own, what we have.
I want to finish that sentence. And to be enabled to lead quiet and peaceable lives in all godliness and honesty.
Right. That's why we have freedom of religion, so that we can lead our lives in holiness. 5 years later, on May 31st, 1775, a month after the commencement of the Revolutionary War, Harvard president, see how far Harvard's gotten, Samuel Langdon delivered a sermon to Massachusetts Congress titled "Government Corrupted by Vice and Recovered by Righteousness." Distinguished scholar, theologian, and charter member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, the delegate to the New Hampshire Convention that adopted the U.S. Constitution, he too understood the central role of government. Thanks be to God that He has given us as men natural rights, independent of all human laws whatever, by the law of nature. Any body of people destitute of order and government may form themselves into a civil society according to their best prudence, and so provide for the common safety and advantage. It has nothing to do with your health care. It has nothing to do with food stamps. It has nothing to do with making sure that when I build my house, that I do it right. If I build my house and it falls down, that's my own fault.
We're going to actually cover that in another segment later today, so
okay,
stick
so
with us for that.
Another quote, in 1775, 1 year before declaring independence, the Continental Congress issued a declaration articulating precisely, I got to bring this stuff to you guys, because if you don't understand you won't understand the Constitution today, unless you understand their minds before. The Continental Congress, this is a statement directly from them. On July 6, 1775, 1 year before declaring independence, the Continental Congress issued a declaration articulating precisely why they felt compelled to take up arms against their mother country. Obviously, they felt the government had gone awry. If it was possible for men who exercised their reason to believe that the divine author of our existence intended a part of the human race to hold an absolute property in and an unbounded power over others, talking about kings, marked out by his infinite goodness and wisdom as the objects of a legal domination never rightfully resistible, however severe and oppressive. Resistible. However severe and oppressive, the inhabitants of these colonies might at least require from the Parliament of Great Britain some evidence that this dreadful authority over them has been granted to that body. But a reverence for our great Creator, principles of humanity, and the dictates of common sense must convince all those who reflect upon the subject that government was instituted to promote the welfare of mankind and ought to be administered for the attainment of that end. In our own native land, in defense of the freedom that is our birthright, and which we ever enjoyed to the late violation of it, for the protection of our property, acquired solely by the honest industry of our forefathers and ourselves, against the violence actually offered, we have taken up arms.
That's so powerful, and if you guys aren't familiar with the First Continental Congress, do a little bit of research, but what I want you to understand is, if you have a Bible in your house anywhere, dust it off and open it up to Psalm 35. And read it through. But before you read it through, understand that they actually said that as a whole, as a common. They read it. And that's what they were feeling, as this righteousness to defend their family, to defend their lands, to defend.
That would have gone viral on YouTube.
Oh, it totally would have gone. And we've actually, when we've gone to Plymouth, Massachusetts to visit our forefathers' monuments, we read it. Every time we get in the car, we read that Psalm 35 because it's so powerful. The Continental Congress and what happened at the inception of our independence is such a powerful, hallowed moment in our history.
These were good men led. Imagine the Avengers together. These were really good men. I mean, the best of men. They were righteous, they were holy, they were good, they were hard workers, they loved everybody. I mean, they were the best of men, like, ever.
Right.
You know?
And for those of you, and I know a lot of you are like, well, some of them were slave owners and all this, that, and the other. We can do many more segments on that, but you just need to realize that based on the economy at the time, that's like me telling you never, ever, ever to buy anything made in China, which you shouldn't. All right? But it's practically impossible. Your hands are tied. Right. So there's a lot more there than you understand. You don't know. If you need to, go back to read Thomas Jefferson, the Jefferson Lies by David Barton. That can help you out get started.
All right. Thank you, President Obama. Thank you, President Trump.
See, we're allowed to misspeak and call the president different names.
Well, yeah, but
Nancy Pelosi's not allowed to do it.
Then we recognize it.
Yeah. All right. Where it's not a conspiracy theory if it's the truth.
Thank you for meeting with the sheriffs.
Yes, thank you for meeting with the sheriffs. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. Ring the bell for notifications so that you get every video as we put it out. And thanks for watching, guys. Find us on Facebook. God bless.
was cold, all alone. No place for home, every day, so afraid. But you called my name.